Welcome to day 3. When the world feels overwhelming, your creativity becomes even more precious and necessary by choosing to make art, to observe deeply, to connect to the wild world through your practice. You're lighting candles rather than cursing the darkness. That's a kind of gentle power and it changes everything. So I really hope you get to engage in play and connection today and enjoy. Eye. So look at the angles of this eye. Look at how she's looking up. So we've got one eye that's sort of looking away, one eye that's just kind of, in ecstasy, really enjoying, and this one watching what's going on between the two, but still a part of what's going on. So the way that the eye is moved in this one, we can see quite a bit of the light of the eye. The pupil is right in the corner. She has a little bit of a catch light, but we'll just be really gentle with that. A little bit of value to the iris as well, and a little bit of value to the white, because the white of an eye is never really white. It's in shadow from lids. And then let's look at the hair that goes around. Like, what's the hair doing? Let's get some of these dots in for this whiskery area. Note that there's a real shift in the colouring of this gorgeous being too. Do I want to change? Only a little bit more around this eye, a bit more this way. This is one of my favourite parts, where the majority of it is done. Now I just want to go around and adjust. And of course you can go even more detailed. If that's what calls to you, then do that. This is your project. You get to do what you would like to do. I like this to be quite a loose sketch compared to the detailed work like the orangutan. And even that is fairly loose compared to some other sketches I do. So I'm going to bring a little bit more out this way. Of course, somebody's going to start mowing now. Darken up this little bit here. Darken up this little bit here. Now these are never finished to me. I always think of an end being, as the end being when I stop making marks altogether. So your sketchbook is something that you can revisit. Anything you make is something you can revisit at any time. You do not feel like
don't feel like you have to finish right now and never come back to it ever again. That's not what happens. We get to play with what we've made for as long as we want to. So I am going to call this trio finished for the moment. But as this page progresses, I might want to add back in. I might want to change some things. I might want to adjust value a bit more. Okay, I'm going to move on to the swans up here now. My paper under my hand, and I might just pull out a little bit. You can see a bit better. All right, now with this lot, we've got quite an elongated head, which I know is going to be up here somewhere. And then if I want the body to finish down here somewhere, and then make sure we've got enough room for all the little signets, I think that I'm going to need to be here somewhere. In which case the head's going to come up here, which could be okay, I think. Alright, I think that'll work. So the first thing I want to do, because I've only got a certain amount of room, is to think about where the head is here. Circle, triangle, elongated neck, and think about how long that neck is relative to everything else. Look at the angle of the neck going all the way down to the water. And then we've got the shape of the body, sort of like this here, which that should work for the signets all the way over here. I'm going to look at this negative space here as well, and that shows me that this little signet, who I'm a little worried about, I'll be honest. There's an eye infection going on there. Here, and there's another little one, head. Body. Knowing that I can move these around if I need to. So this little one's head, a little bit closer to the camera, a little bit bigger. And this one here. I think I may have elongated the body a little bit, did I? Maybe. That's better. In which case I will move everybody. Move everybody across a bit. Got a lot of circles happening here, but they'll coalesce over time. Right. Looking how their beak finishes at around about the same place as the body hits the water, so I need to move that forward just a little bit. We've got, look at the outer edges, so the shapes of the negative space around these beautiful ruffles that they have. So her eyes are wide, she's standing very tall, or swimming very tall. Let's get some of these shapes. Again, remember that we're not going for perfection, we're going for connection. So what do you see? What's interesting? How can you use your tools to describe through pigment what you're seeing? How can you turn your brain off and say, I don't need you telling me what I see. I want to really just see. I want to observe. Here comes Mr. Whippy. I don't think this particular van is called that. It's the ice cream truck. Always playing green sleeves. Sundays are the worst. It's stuck in my head and goes around and around. I actually think this little signet, signet needs to come up a bit further, but I'm going to leave them there for now. Well, not for now. I'm making a decision to leave them there. It's not going to be a huge difference to the overall story that we're telling here. I'll just think of it as being at a slightly different camera angle. So looking at those shapes, looking at whereabouts this eye sits relative to everything else. Oh, hello, darling. Look at you. And talk to your beings that you're creating. They like it. There usually comes a point when I'm drawing where I feel like I'm actually being able to talk to them now. I go, hello. I always say hello. Because it would be rude not to, frankly. There's a big head. That beak, look at that. That's a mess. I don't know what's going on there. Let's try and fix that. Eye comes straight down onto the beak. It's not the best. It's not the best. A little foot. Now this little one at the back. I'm not going to draw his little eye infection. Just hope that he was okay. That is a female koel. And this little one. Now they're quite simple shapes, these little cygnets, so we don't need to spend a huge amount of time on them. We're just going to give them a bit of value. Mum is going to be a lot darker all around, obviously. And so we need to think about how we can relate the two together. I do want to do just a little indication of water. Just look at the way that some of those lines show up. You don't have to go all in, just a little bit of an indication. Alright, now, being that she's all dark in colour, how are we going to differentiate between different parts of her being? So I know that if I turned this image to black and white, the values of the red and the dark feathers are going to be quite similar. So when we have a case like that, when we've got something that's really saturated, we need to make a decision about how we want to represent that when we're doing monochromatic work. So I'm going to leave it as fairly light. And look more at the way that the shadows are playing on this nostril in there. Okay, and then I'm going to get darker, especially around the face. This is very dark in here. I want to think about the feathers though, so I'm going to ensure that I'm going the way that they go.